back to Boxcar's Garage. My apologies in advance, I haven't had any videos out in a little while. I've been a little bit distracted, and this right here has been one of my distractions as of late. I picked up the Snap-on Classic 96 through a Craigslist ad. The seller was in Birmingham, Alabama, and myself living on the panhandle of Florida, it ended up being like maybe a 3.5 hour drive to pick it up. And I got it the other day and brought it back home, and the overall condition was great. It's about 4 years old. It needed some cleanup and some detail work, which I have gotten done. I also removed the hutch to load it and to haul it here, so I had to get it put back together. And right now I'm kind of partially moved into it. I had to move some stuff out of my shop to get this in, and my shop is still it's a mess. So anyway, try to look past that. I've got a couple of, I think, might be some interesting projects or some mods that you could do with regards to the hutch. And I've never seen it done on YouTube before, so I thought I'd go ahead and throw it out and you could check it out. So on with the show. So first off, let's talk about lighting. I'd been interested in knowing what the options were with regards to the lighting. Snap-on, of course, has got a really neat magnetic activated light that goes up in the hutch, and when you open the top door, it turns on, and when you close the hutch, it turns off. I haven't priced it yet. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not over $100 or better. So that wasn't going to be an option for me. It wasn't. It was kind of cool, you know, being able to maybe have it turn on like that, but it wasn't critical for me. I found a cheaper alternative. It's also an LED, but much cheaper. This light is made by Commercial Electric. It's one of the contractor grade lines that Home Depot offers. I believe this light was like $14, and again, it's LED. It's got a pull chain to turn it on, and this here be the box. You see here, there you go, that's enough. So that's the box. This is the light. It's not bad. It's probably the total depth of it, you're looking at about 1.5 inches deep, and let me see, how wide is this dude? And it's just shy of 4 feet long. It's got the pull chain on the end, and there is a dust deflector or whatnot, diffuse, you know, there's something on the top of it, and that's going to give me some attachment points that I'm going to use for my install. I wanted to install it in a way that it wasn't totally obvious while you're looking into the cabinet from straight on. I really didn't want to see the light if I could help it, but the design and the movement of the upper hutch door creates some limiting factors that's got to be taken into account when you come up with your game plan. So I will let's talk about the game plan. So a couple of limitations: the door, the movement of the door, and we'll go into that here in a second. I'll show you some video of that. That was going to cause an issue. I wanted to also have the light basically installed midway in the, as far as the depth of it. I wanted it to be in the middle of the hutch, shining down on what's going on. It would have been far easier if I would have went ahead and mounted it on the wall, the back wall of the hutch. That would have been so much easier. But then it, you know, it would have washed the back of the hutch, and that wasn't the look that I thought I was going for. I wanted something that was going to provide some general area, light here in this area. So I wanted to get it in the middle. So by putting it in the middle, I had to stand the light off from the back wall. So the mod that I'm going to go into is going to talk about some hardware that I used in order to stand off this $14 light from Home Depot, how to stand it off from the back wall while staying out of the way of the movement of the hutch door above. So that is that project we're going to talk about. And then I've got a couple other quickie projects that I'll show you as well. So let's get at it. Okay, so I initially started out, I needed some brackets to basically stand off this light from the back wall, like I mentioned earlier. And while I could have made something, I could have fabbed up something here in the shop, I thought, why not try to do it with something that is common to everybody. You can buy it anywhere, and then just do a small alteration to it and repurpose it. So I ended up deciding on these brackets. This one, I believe, let me see, this is the about 8.5 inches. My total depth here, you're looking at 22 inches. So 22, so anywhere, I'm roundabout, I'm kind of in the middle-ish. I probably could have got a few more inches there, maybe like a 10-incher. A 10-incher would have been better, but anyway, so I made it work with this one right here. This is about 8.5, and I had also looked at a couple of other options, but it just wasn't going to work out. I didn't want to screw directly into my back wall, and the back wall has got some perforations in it, but they start a little bit too low to have been able to utilize those holes that were already in the back wall. I would have had to made some new ones, and anyway, I opted against that. I didn't want to start drilling on my new hutch, so these were thrown out of the game plan early. I ended up going with this one just because of just how simple it was, and it was going to give me some material here to do something with, and I'm going to go in and explain that now. So going with these, I had to come up with how was this going to actually hang, and in which direction was I going to have it hang. So I eventually decided that I wanted it kind of oriented like this in order to get as much of it as possible out of the sight line, because like I said before, I wanted to keep the unit as high up as I possibly could to where you didn't see it from the outside. So I started with this. In order to take these this back tab off here, you just have to grind down these 2 points, and then it all pretty much comes apart. It's really just in 2 pieces. You've got this back shoulder piece, and then you've got the bracket itself. So you get this removed, get it out of your way, and you end up, when it's all said and done, you end up with something that looks like this right here. The way this is going to work is that if this is this profile here of this aluminum is going to simulate the stainless steel back wall of the hutch. The thickness of the hutch is about 3/4 of an inch, give or take, and I wanted to have this bracket allow me to hang it over and connect on the lip like this right here, and then hang down on the face of the hutch wall. So hopefully this demonstrates how this is set up to be. It took a little bit of trial and error and a little bit of file work, but in the end I was able to go ahead and get her to work, and I believe that the light is going to be able to hang well from this once I have it done. So this is the shape that I came up with, and there's probably maybe some other alternatives, but this was kind of a progress. This was a progressive trial and error in getting this to where it was right, and it was just enough to allow you to basically install it like at an angle and then pull it down straight and everything line up and fit. I had tried to recycle that shoulder that had originally existed on the bracket. I thought if I could put that shoulder back on there, it would add a detail, it would look nicer. And I sat and fiddled with that damn thing forever, and it seemed to cause more problem than it was worth. So I finally just scrapped that idea, and I just went with the straight up what you see here. I did end up taking off about 3/4 of an inch of this. This was 8.5 inches. I pulled about a 1/2 inch or 3/4 of an inch off at the end in order to allow me to, I've got to install it like in this orientation, and I've got to like hook that back rail, that lip that I demonstrated a minute ago. And while I'm doing that, I'm hitting the top of the hutch. So I opted to take off 3/4 of an inch so my projection wasn't going too far up. And then, so with this, I had a easier rotation and locked into position, no problem. So you might have to take a little bit off of the end. You just have to see with your own application. So this is what I ended up with. Now, of course, I need to do one more thing to this. I've got these little brackets. This came from a bifold door kit. It was parts that I didn't use, and anyway, I'm going to end up tacking this onto this bracket. And so if you can see where I'm going with this clicked into the rail, the back wall, I've got this connection point that I can have a bolt in and bolt up to this light. And I think I should be able to connect these up on both ends and just click this whole light onto that rail and onto that back wall, and it'd be a done deal. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to tack that on, and then probably shoot a little bit of paint on it, maybe not, and go from there. So this is what we ended up with. Got the brackets welded on there, put a little bit of paint on it, but I don't believe we're going to be really seeing it. So I could have done a better job painting. I don't know what size of screws these are, so it doesn't really matter. But let's see how she looks. Somewhere around here. Oh, yeah, this is going to require some twisting action. And I'm going to have to close this a little bit. Houston, we have a problem. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, regroup. So that didn't work. That was real time. It didn't work. I've got too much projection here that's been added with the installation of the light. I'm going to have to do the brackets separately and the light separately. That 1.25 inches of additional projection doesn't allow me to rotate it high enough in order to hook that back lip of this back wall. So got to regroup and do it in a stage with them separated. So it fought me to the end. I end up I had to take down this edge right here. It wasn't allowing me to rotate it as much as I needed to be able to hook the rail and drop it back down into position. So anyway, should work now. We'll see. So I got her working, got her hung up. It fought me to the very end, and but you see, I got that light peeping at me while I'm standing here on the outside. I'm about 6 foot tall, and I can see it plain as day. I would like to cover up that light and maybe add some sort of a diffuser or something to shield that off. My daughter came in and looked at it, and that was the first thing she said. She said, "Is there any way that you think you could cover up that light?" So I just so happen to have a piece of brushed aluminum laying around. This actually came off of a dry erase board, and I saved it for whatever reason, and it looks like it's going to line up with just a small modification, and I can control that light or keep that light from peeping. So let me give it a shot. If you see the clearance that I have, let's see here. There's not a lot of clearance for the travel of that that door. Right now I've got about 1.25 inch clearance. So I got the diffuser on. I went ahead and had to take the light down. I tried to do it in place, but that was just asking for a problem, and it was very difficult to get up in that tight area. My luck, it's toward the end of the day I would have messed up something, so I went ahead and I took it down. The material I used for the diffuser was pretty close to being the right length. It's about 1/4 inch off, but I can handle that. It's actually I think it'll go well with it's brushed aluminum. I think it'll look good with the stainless. So I wish I could say that that was a part of my original plan as far as that diffuser, but I'd be lying. That was definitely an on-the-fly thing. It worked out really well. You can I believe this camera shot should show that there's no blinding of the looking directly at the light, and it's really unnoticeable now. You know, I wish maybe I had a longer piece of aluminum to have covered that completely at the end, but I don't think anybody's going to really focus on that. I would hope not anyway. And I've got the diffuser at an angle, so it should yeah, it's projecting out here, so that's not an issue. Let's see, let me give you a lower vantage point. There we go, a little bit lower vantage point. You can see the light there. I'm happy with the overall light that it generates. It's more than adequate. I think I would go with this lamp again. I've got to do some cord management, and that'll be about it. I'll call that light project done. So, what do you think? 14 bucks plus a scrap piece of brushed aluminum that you can get from wherever. Some brackets, they're probably $3 or $4 a piece. There's 2 of those. Miscellaneous nuts and bolts, couple of washers, and half the day. That's all you need. My Hutch did not come with power, so I had to add that after the fact. This power extender here, I forget the name of it right now, of course, but so it's got offers 6 outlets and 2 USB charger stations, which is a good thing for a lot of my camera equipment needs those sort of USB chargers. And of course it's protected and grounded, switches on the bottom. So, and then I just use some of those quick release 3M tabs to stick it up against the box, and I think that the cord is like 9 feet long. So that is my power, and I'm happy with it. I believe that's gonna be fine for now. I don't expect to do a lot of work here in this Hutch area anyway. So, and for mod number 3, here's the top of my Hutch. I had cleaned this thing up, and it was pretty grimy and greasy and scuffed up on the top just for years of use, you know, and throwing stuff on top there. I happen to have some rubber mat. I don't know where I got it from, but I had enough to where I could cover the top and fit it into the space. So I think this is going to be a nice addition to just allow me to throw whatever I want to up there, maybe display some items up there, and not worry about scuffing up the top and whatever. So that's mod number 3. So a lot of bang for your buck. 1 video, 3 mods, Snap-on Hutch mods, all 3. So let me know what you think. Let me know how you would have done it differently, and yeah, let's talk about Snap-on Hutches. What the heck? See you later, guys.